Hello, today I'll be talking about some special case algorithms for black box radical membership, the Null-Salinzas, and transcendence degree computation. This is joint work with my advisor, Nitin Saxena. I'll start off by describing the three problems that I'll be talking about. The first is the Null-Salinzas problem. Suppose we have polynomials f1 through fm, each in n variables. We want to check if the polynomials fi have a common root. Here we assume that the underlying field k is algebraically closed. This is a fairly fundamental problem since many other problems reduce to this. Hilbert's famous Null-Salinzas states that if the polynomials do not have a common root, then there exist polynomials h1 through hm such that summation fi hi is 1. Currently, the best known complexity for this problem is p-space. For some special cases, such as the integers, assuming the generalized Riemann hypothesis, there is an AM protocol for this. The second problem is the transcendence degree computation problem. Suppose we have polynomials f1 through fm. We call these polynomials algebraically dependent if for some m variate polynomial a, the evaluation of a at f1 through fm is identically 0. For example, if f1 is x plus y and f2 is x squared plus y squared, if the underlying field has characteristic 2, we can pick a to be the polynomial y1 squared minus y2. If your polynomials are x plus y, x squared plus y squared, and x minus y, then the polynomials are always algebraically dependent. The transcendence degree computation problem is to find, given a set of polynomials fi, what the size of maximal independent sets are. Algebraic dependence satisfies the matroid property like linear dependence, so all maximal independent sets will have the same size. If the underlying field has characteristic 0, then there is a BPP algorithm for this problem. When the characteristic is finite, however, while we know that the problem is in AM intersection co-AM, we currently know no efficient algorithms for this problem. The final thing that I'd like to talk about is the effective Null-Salinzas. Suppose you have polynomials fi that do not have a common root. Then we know that there are polynomials hi such that summation fi hi is 1 by the Null-Salinzas. What we now want to do is find degree bounds on the hi in terms of the degrees of the fi. In the 1920s, Hermann proved double exponential bounds for arbitrary ideal membership. However, in the 1980s and 90s, Brownell, Kolar, and some other people proved single exponential bounds for the special case of the Null-Salinzas. Namely, if each fi has degree at most d, then each hi has degree at most d to the n. I'll now talk about our contributions. What we do is we give better algorithms and bounds for the above problems in the special case where the input polynomials have small transcendence degree. In particular, suppose the input polynomials have transcendence degree r, then we give a Null-Salinzas algorithm and a transcendence degree computation algorithm that runs in time polynomial in d to the r. We also give effective Null-Salinzas degree bounds of d to the r. This can be compared with the existing algorithms that take time d to the n. We can think of the small transcendence degree case as a generalization of the case when the number of input polynomials is small. Another example case when polynomials have small transcendence degree is when your polynomials fi are of the form gi evaluated at h1 to hr, where each hi is an n-variate polynomial and each gi is an r-variate polynomial. The main result that we show is that we can take random linear combinations of polynomials and preserve the zero set as long as we take enough linear combinations. What we show is that if the transcendence degree is r, then it suffices to take r plus 1 random linear combinations of your input polynomials to preserve the zero set. This observation, along with existing dimension computing algorithms by Lakshman and Lasser and existing effective Null-Salinzas bonds, will give us our results. Our algorithms will use as a subroutine this zero-dimensional testing algorithm by Lakshman and Lasser. This algorithm takes as input n-variate polynomials f1 through fm, each of degree at most d. It then decides if the zero set of the polynomials f1 through fm is a zero-dimensional variety. This algorithm runs in time polynomial in d to the n and m. We will also use this effective Null-Salinzas bound by Jelinek. If we have polynomials f1 through fm of degrees d1 through dn, and if m is at most n, if the polynomials f1 to fm do not have a common root, then there exists h1 through hm such that summation fi hi is 1, and such that each of the products fi hi has degree at most the product of the degrees of all the input polynomials. We will also frequently use the fact that given a projective variety, If we intersect it with a random hyperplane, then the dimension of the variety drops by 1. In our results, the hyperplane with which we are intersecting will have some structure, namely, its defining equation will only depend on the subset of the variables. We show that the property that the dimension drops by 1 still holds with high probability in this setting for an appropriate setting of the parameters. In our proofs, we will be looking at the polynomial map defined by the polynomials f1 through fm and also its image. We now state some standard properties about such a map that we will use later on. Suppose you have polynomials f1 through fm, each of degree at most d and transcendence degree r. Consider the polynomial map phi f, whose ith coordinate function is given by the polynomial fi. The zero set of the polynomials f1 to fm is exactly the fiber of phi f over the point 0. The image of phi f is usually not a variety. We will use y to denote its closure in the Zariski topology. The ideal corresponding to the variety y is the ideal of annihilators of f1 through fm. Here, by an annihilator of f1 through fm, I mean any polynomial a such that a evaluated at f1 through fm is the identically zero polynomial. The variety y is irreducible. This follows from the fact that it is the closure of the image of an irreducible variety, namely the n-dimensional affine space, under a polynomial map, and the polynomial maps are continuous in the Zariski topology. Further, the dimension of y is exactly the transcendence degree of the polynomials f1 through fm. This can be seen by computing the coordinate ring of y. This is exactly the ring generated by f1 through fm. This ring is an integral domain, so we can take its field of fractions, and the transcendence degree of this field of fractions is exactly the dimension of y by definition, and this is r. We also have a bound on the degree of y, namely d to the r. This follows by looking at phi f as the composition of the Veronese embedding and a linear map. We now state the first result, namely the Null-Slunzas algorithm. So suppose you have polynomials f1 through fm, each in n variables and of degree at most d. Suppose also that the polynomials fi have transcendence degree r. We show that checking if the polynomials have a common root can be done in time polynomial in n, m and d to the r using randomness. We now sketch the proof. The zero set v of the polynomials f1 through fm is exactly the fiber of phi f over the point 0. By the fiber dimension theorem, if this fiber is non-empty, then it has dimension at least n minus r. We pick n minus r random hyperplanes and call their intersection h. With high probability, this intersection has dimension r. Further, the dimension of v intersection h, if it is non-empty, is 0. We implement this intersection as a variable reduction. We first pick a basis v1 to vr for h. We then define a map psi from the r-dimensional affine space to the n-dimensional affine space that maps the coordinate functions to these basis vectors. The corresponding map of coordinate rings is a linear map. The polynomials psi star fi, which is the same as the polynomials fi after applying this variable reduction map, these polynomials have roots that are in bijection with the points of v intersection h. In order to check if the original polynomials have a common root, it is therefore sufficient to check if these polynomials, now in r variables, have a common root. For this, we can just use Lakshman and Lazar's algorithm. Since the number of variables is now just r, this algorithm runs in time polynomial in m, d to the r, and n. This gives us our first result. We now discuss the second result, namely the improved effective Null-Slunzas bound. So suppose we have polynomials f1 through fm of degrees d1 through dm. Suppose that the polynomials have transcendence degree r and that they have no common root. We also assume that the polynomials are arranged so that d1 is at least d2, which is at least d3, and so on. We then show that there exist polynomials h1 through hm such that summation fi hi is 1. Further, each of the products fi hi also has degree upper bounded by the product of the degrees of the first r plus 1 input polynomials. In order to show this, we prove this intermediate lemma, which states that if we have m polynomials, of transcendence degree r, then we can take r plus 1 many linear combinations of these polynomials and still preserve the zero set with high probability. So here our linear combinations are the polynomials g1 through gr plus 1. Note that the polynomial g1 depends on all the polynomials f1 through fm. The polynomial g2 only depends on the polynomials f2 to fm, and so on. This will be important when we want the degree bounds. Given this intermediate lemma, the proof of the main theorem is fairly straightforward. Given the polynomials f1 through fm, we can construct polynomials g1 through gr plus 1 that have the same zero set. By assumption, each of the gi has degree di, and also each of the gi's do not have any common roots. By the existing effective Nullstellensatz bounds, we can find polynomials h1 prime through hr plus 1 prime with the following degree bounds, and such that 1 is summation gi hi prime. In this equation, we can substitute back fi for gi and rearrange, grouping together terms that contain the same fj. This will give us the required polynomials hi. We now discuss the proof of the lemma. Let phi g denote the polynomial map whose coordinate functions are the polynomials g1 through gr plus 1. We define linear polynomials L1 through LR plus 1. The coefficients of these linear polynomials are Cij, which are exactly the coefficients that we use to define the Gi as linear combinations of the input polynomials. We use phi L to denote the map from the m-dimensional affine space to the r plus 1 dimensional affine space that has coordinate functions L1 through LR plus 1. We therefore have the following diagram of maps. Note that we can write the map phi g as the composition of phi f followed by the inclusion of the variety y into the m-dimensional affine space followed by the map phi L. We can therefore also write the zero set of the polynomials g1 through gr plus 1 as the pre-image of the point 0 under this composed map. Let phi m denote the map from the m-dimensional affine space to the r-dimensional affine space with coordinate functions L1 through LR plus 1. Note that we can write phi L as phi m and the function LR plus 1. This map phi m is Noether normalizing for the variety y. Therefore, it is surjective and has finite fibers. We let Z denote the fiber of this map over the point 0. The variety Z is either empty or zero dimensional. Further, by construction, the variety Z is a subset of the fiber of I composed with phi L over 0. This is because for a point in Y to lie in Z, it has to vanish under the maps L1 through LR, while for the same point to lie in the fiber of I composed with phi L over 0, it has to vanish under the maps L1 through LR plus 1. We will now want to get a handle on the size of this set Z. For this, we use the fact that the variety, the r-dimensional affine space is a normal variety. We can therefore bound the cardinality of Z by the degree of the following extension. This extension is essentially the function field of Y over the pullback of the function field of the image, namely the r-dimensional affine space. In order to bound the degree of this extension, we use the Perron bound. We can show that the degree of this extension is at most d1 raised to m squared. This is a fairly loose estimate, but we won't need anything much better than this. The kernel of the linear map phi m is a linear space of dimension m minus r, since it has r defining equations. Its intersection with the linear space defined by the vanishing of the last m minus r coordinates therefore has dimension 0 with high probability. What this shows is that with high probability, each of the points in Z other than potentially 0 has a non-zero coordinate amongst the last m minus r. This in turn implies that with high probability, the map LR plus 1 takes non-zero value on every point in Z, except potentially at the point 0. Together, all of these arguments show that 0 is the only point in Y that can map to the point 0 under the map I composed with phi L. Further, if 0 is in the image of Y under the map phi L, then 0 must be in the variety Y. No other point in the variety Y can map to 0 under the map I composed with phi L. This allows us to complete our proof. So suppose the polynomials f1 through fm had a non-empty 0 set, then we know that 0 is in the image of the n-dimensional affine space under phi f. By the previous arguments, 0 is the only point in the image of phi f that maps to the 0 in the image of phi g. Therefore, the polynomials f1 through fm and the polynomials g1 through gr plus 1 have the exact same 0 set. If on the other hand, the polynomials f1 through fm did not have any common zeros, then we know that 0 does not belong to the image of phi f. In this case, we also know that 0 cannot belong to the image of phi g. Therefore, we can conclude that the 0 set of g1 through gr plus 1 is also empty as required. We now discuss the third result, namely the transcendence degree computation algorithm. What we show is that given polynomials f1 through fm of degrees at most d, we can compute the transcendence degrees of the polynomials in time polynomial in d to the r, n and m. Here r is the transcendence degree of the polynomials. This algorithm is therefore output sensitive. The idea is again to consider the polynomial map phi f. By the fiber dimension theorem, there is an open subset U of the domain, which is the n-dimensional affine space, such that the image of every point in this open subset has pre-images of dimension exactly n minus r. Therefore, what we do is we just sample a random point in the domain, compute its image, and compute the fiber of the map phi f over this image. This fiber has dimension exactly n minus r. If we are able to compute the dimension of this fiber, then we know r. In order to compute the dimension of the fiber, we use techniques similar to the one in the proof of the first result. Namely, we intersect with random hyperplanes and use the Lakshman and Lazar dimension computation algorithm in order to compute this dimension. What we have to do is bound the probability that a random point A lies in this open subset U. This involves looking at the proof of the fiber dimension theorem and computing polynomials which we label A1 through An minus r, whose non-vanishing guarantees that the polynomial A has the required properties. We show that the polynomials A1 through An minus r have low enough degree such that a random point sampled using polynomially many random bits satisfy the required properties. Further, by computing the time it takes to run the reduction and the Lakshman and Lazar algorithm, we can see that our algorithm outputs its answer in time d to the r. Just to recap, we showed effective improved algorithms for the Nussbaum problem and the radical membership computation problem when the input polynomials had small transcendence degree. In this setting, we also showed improved effective Nussbaum degree bounds. We finish with a couple of future directions. So the first thing is the natural problem of trying to improve the dependence of the transcendence degree in our algorithms. Currently, our algorithms take time d to the r, which is efficient either when the degree is constant and the transcendence degree is logarithmic, or when the transcendence degree is constant. It would be interesting to see if there are algorithms that are polynomial time in larger regimes. A significant improvement in this front is unlikely given that the Nussbaum is NP hard. A second natural problem is to come up with a good algorithm for the transcendence degree computation, a better algorithm. We know that the problem is in AM intersection co-AM, so it's unlikely to be hard. We conjecture that there is a BPP algorithm for the finite characteristic case.